So when's Hugh Jackman going to return as Wolverine? Well, we are hearing he could have a huge role in one of the upcoming Avengers projects, and it feels to me like something Kevin Feige told us about a long time ago. Let's take a couple minutes to break down the report, who it's coming from, and what Feige said several months ago that made me think, well, he ain't going anywhere. Well, it's been pretty much a given that Hugh Jackman was going to somehow make a return to the MCU in these upcoming Avengers movies. Deadpool and Wolverine was Marvel's first R-rated movie and did $1.3 billion last summer, a massive hit. The film proved that not every MCU title needs to be PG-13, and served as a stark reminder to everybody in Hollywood how much of a huge draw Hugh Jackman is when he pops those Wolverine claws. Now, ever since then, we've been really wondering when he's going to return, and there's been some pretty high expectations that he could be part of Doomsday or Secret Wars. But at this point, his involvement in either movie has been basically relegated to Rumorville, with no confirmed information. And that's really where we're going to dive in today. Now, we have a new report from a Hollywood insider, Daniel Rickman. And as I always like to say, Dan's not part of Marvel Studios, and obviously he's not Kevin Feige, so we're taking it with a grain of salt. But his track record is pretty phenomenal, and honestly, this is one of those scoops that makes way too much sense to ignore. Now, what he's done is shed some light on the role of Jackman's character in the two-part multiverse finale. What he's claiming is that this Wolverine variant will have a, quote, huge role in Secret Wars. But as far as Doomsday goes, it appears it will only be a cameo. Now, honestly, I could hear some people being sort of disappointed it's just a cameo. And guys, with all those X-Men appearing, I'm kind of shocked that his character doesn't have a huge part. But there's some caveats here we want to be careful with. First and foremost, I think all those X-Men characters are going to be from the world that we saw Monica Rambeau land in at the end of the Marvels. And at no point was it 100% confirmed Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds' world was that same world. We've all been operating from the understanding that's Earth 10,005, but it very well might not be. Now, if you remember right, in the X-Men timeline, well, Wolverine lives on for quite a while, and the events of that timeline surrounded Professor X, eventually leading to mutants going into hiding. This whole project definitely appears to take place before those events, so the status of that version of Wolverine is kind of up in the air. It's almost impossible that this character doesn't return given how much money the movie made last summer and how much fan love he has, and it's something I think Kevin Feige really gets. Actually, last July, Feige was directly asked if another actor could play Wolverine, and he said, Marvel is celebrating its 85th anniversary this summer. That's just the first 85 years, and Disney just celebrated 100 years as well. I think these characters will be around for another 100 years, long after us. So for sure, there will be eventually another actor as Wolverine. I think it will be a very different style in a different way. I think also if somebody were to attempt to do a Hugh Jackman as Wolverine impression, that would be a pretty huge mistake. As comic readers know, there have been various and very, very different versions of these characters over the decades. It would be fun to explore different ones someday down the line. Again, we don't have any immediate plans by any means, but in the decades to come, I think it's inevitable. If it happens, it would have to be very different and bold interpretation of the character because no one will be as great as Hugh Jackman as doing his version of Wolverine. Now, when you listen to Feige's statements there, they really start to make a lot of sense in what's going on here. He said in this quote, someday down the line. And after the big return last year, I don't think we're that far down the line. I think it's almost impossible that Feige would not take the opportunity to keep Jackman on board for a little longer. Now, whether they make him do it till he's 90, that's a whole new question. But I am absolutely sure they have plans for this character moving down the road, and he's likely to stick around at least through Secret Wars. What the world looks like after Secret Wars with a brand new cast of X-Men, that might be a better time. But I think going through 2027 in Secret Wars, Jackman is going to stick with the role, and he might actually have 2 more appearances as the character, I think giving him back the title as the actor who played a superhero the most number of times. But Tom Holland's right on his tail. Until we know more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Hugh Jackman having a massive role in Secret Wars? And are you okay with him just doing a cameo in Avengers Doomsday? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Now before you take off though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily videos and we want to be your place for all the Marvel and DC news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you're really in the know.